Hello, this is Frank Favaro, president and founder of Serve Centric Coaching, and I'm super excited to be sponsoring the Undeniable podcast. When we talk about business today, everyone's looking to create an advantage. But how do you find it? Everything is copied with technology. Innovation is hard to come by. We can find it with customer experience. The experience that you provide to your customers and to your employees determines the value you bring to the marketplace. We will create a plan for you that will get your business to the next level. You can find us at www.serve-centric.com. That's Serve Centric. Serve, S-E-R-V-E -centric, C-E-N-T-R-I-C.com. And you can reach me personally at 330-715-5361. Thank you.
Blood time. Coach Cimarroni here. I got a dear friend, longtime friend, a Benedictine Bengal, Terry Armelli. How the fuck are you, bro?
You can say that, huh?
Fuck yeah, we can say that. Absolutely.
Well, I'm doing fucking pretty good then.
That's my boy.
Thanks for having me here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, life is good.
Yeah, it is good. And, you know, Terry, I saw some things that you posted about a beautiful man, talented man, revered man, Sandy Santos Caggio. Mm-hmm. We lost him too soon. What did he mean to you?
Sandy was, you know, if there was a mold for a referee, honestly, I think that mold would be Sandy.
Right.
Sandy, his life was wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, and he everybody knew he was doing something he loved.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, he was well known, well respected in the entire wrestling community.
Internationally.
Not just in the Northeast Ohio,
Right.
Country-wise, international-wise.
Right.
I mean, he did, you know, 30-some high school state championships. He's done the Big Ten championships,
right.
You know, regionals. He's done Pan Am Games, Olympic trials with the Greco and freestyle.
Yep.
Just the whole gamut.
Right.
In the Hall of Fame, National Hall of Fame in Oklahoma, in Ohio Hall of Fame, probably numerous others.
Right.
But he just was professional on the mat, knew the rules, no ego.
Yeah.
Ego was not behind. And
soft-spoken, too.
He would walk in the gym and people would be yelling from the stand, "Hey, Sandy," or if they're even yelling mad at him at the mat. "Sandy, you missed that call, Sandy." It's always Sandy. Everybody knew Sandy.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So he was, and coming up, he was like a mentor. You know,
Yeah.
He was one of.
Did you try to emulate him?
He was one of the guys.
Yeah.
I came in at the Northeast Ohio Wrestling Officials Association.
Yeah.
And at that time it was just, I would say probably the strongest association in the state.
No doubt.
We had, numerous big time, Denny Palmer, Don Ferris.
Donnie was great.
Cagios, Schoenauers,
right.
Mike Dane. I mean, just goes on and on. And,
Yep.
and these are the ones that I came up underneath. I was the one going watching those matches. How did they work? How did they do things?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you were just the next generation. Right.
At that, I didn't know it at that time, but I guess I did morph into that.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
So.
And you were one of the leaders with who's the gentleman out in Columbia?
Ray Anthony.
Mm-hmm. Terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
He's one of the state rule interpreters.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
He was a terrific, talented guy. And then you had Bernie Rye. Bernie
Rye was another one, right?
Yeah,
Good old Bernie.
But Denny was terrific. And so. You become one of the top referees in the state of Ohio. Was that ever a goal of yours? I mean, you're a pretty good wrestler. I believe you're a nurse, right?
I'm a nurse now.
Yeah.
I've been a nurse now about 25 years.
25 years, yeah. So, did you want to be a referee? How did that?
After wrestling in high school, went to college, wrestled there.
Where'd you wrestle in college?
I went to Ashland.
Okay.
That was on a 1 year freshman year. I wrestled. Had a good season, qualified for nationals. Sophomore year, had a knee injury.
Yeah.
Actually, it was it's a funny story, kind of. Bill McGrain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's a national alumni.
Yep. Yep.
He was wrestling him in practice the day I blew out my knee. So,
oh, dear God.
Thanks, Bill. So that kind of, got, and at that time it was a meniscus tear, but it wasn't like it was now.
I know.
Not in and out. I was in a hospital for 2 nighs, laid up for the season.
Been there, done that. Yeah. Yeah, so, it was meatball surgery back then.
Basically,
yeah.
So, anyways, kind of fell off the off the edge, but schoolwork went behind. I was there to wrestle, When I couldn't wrestle, I kind of said, why am I going to go to school?
Right.
So got out of school, got a job, did a bunch of things, but became a nurse.
Yep.
And loving that right now.
Cool.
So
what do you love? What did you love about officiating?
It still got me on the mat. It got me involved. When
Right.
my wrestling career was done, I still wanted to do something with wrestling. And
Sure.
coaching would have been great, but as you know, the time commitment and that is just
The emotion.
overwhelming. And
Yeah.
I didn't have a career that could allow me that. And,
Sure.
So refereeing was the best thing. So got into officiating, took a test with a good friend of mine, Dave Arter.
Oh, yeah? Dave's a terrific
we
referee.
We were sitting
Yeah.
side by side for the testing.
He went to Euclid, didn't he?
He was a Euclid grad,
Yeah.
Our license number, one number apart, all
I know.
that. So we came up through the ranks together.
Right.
But it's just kind of morphed into a long career than I thought. I didn't go in it thinking I'm going to be a state official. It was just a way to make a few extra bucks and still have the best seat in the house.
Well, yeah, but you rose to the pinnacle in our state.
Took times. I mean, it was 18 years until I got my first state tournament.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I had to cut
But
my
you earned
teeth.
it.
I had to cut my teeth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I've done about 12 state tournaments and
Yep.
a lot of big time matches along the way and state
Sure.
national championships. We have a ton of kids that went on to college level and did well, and it's just been awesome. It's just been great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And your brother Tim went into coaching,
Right.
and
Right.
he had a pretty good career at Lake and then at Chardon, and he also was. Wasn't he the prin? Was he a
He was
principal?
AD for a short time
AD?
at Chardon.
AD at
But
Chardon.
he was a coach at Lake Catholic when they won the state 2 division state championship.
Right.
With his team there. So yeah, very successful.
And was he there during the shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And when we lost Danny Parmenter, who was the first executed in that horrific
Right.
situation, and I think his leadership was terrific during that time.
Oh yeah.
I remember.
Affected a lot of them still affected to this day by it.
Yes, yes, and that was Imarino's grandson.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
And
right.
we were at that funeral, and wow, the line out the door. It was at Monreal, out by the Captain Stadium in Lake County.
Right.
And I remember going into that funeral, and Terry, it was like a mosh pit of love for Imarino. He was in the middle, and there had to be 50 of his former wrestlers around him just kind of loving him up,
Sure.
But he was the only one that could really speak. It was so terrific. I mean, it was so
such a
horrific.
young life.
Oh, my God, just terrible. But and I'm sure it affected Tim.
Sure.
You know.
I mean, and on a positive note, he's got into. He's very, very active with the other coach that kind of tackled the shooter, Frank.
Oh, yeah, the big guy.
But anyways, they've been very active with in the government, with state and at the government level, state level, down in Washington, going speaking for getting the bill passed that now has the resource officers in every school.
Beautiful.
They done a lot of campaigning for that. So
Beautiful, and that's so Tim, right? I just love that. And so Terry, you're right now helping save lives, right? As an RN, I mean,
well,
to some
yeah,
degree?
I'm kind of tamed it back. I don't, I did a long stint in the ICUs and
Sure.
that kind of stuff. But
Sure.
now, coming up on retirement, I work at home. I
got you.
do talk to patients on the phone. So
That's
I'm
good.
affecting lives, yeah, but not on the level I used to. But
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what some of the coaches that you had coming up and how they had an effect on you, not only to do, refereeing, but also becoming a nurse. Did they have any effect on you on what you're doing?
Honestly, probably the first coach I had in my life, and I didn't realize this until maybe about 10 years ago or so, when I was talking with Coach Hunter.
Yeah.
Coach Hunter.
We just lost Coach Hunter.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Him and his wife. I grew up in Willowick.
Yeah.
In like fourth grade, I did a summer. There was a summer wrestling program at the junior high. You did a few-week wrestling camp, and everybody got 2 matches. And at the end of the match, you got a ribbon with the blue if you won and red if you lost. And real neat. And I actually have those at home in my box. And,
I'll be darned.
And I was talking to the Hunters about this thing, and they said, you know what? That was our camp. We ran that. I was a coach there. My wife ran that, and we didn't want to put those stickers on the thing. And
Yeah.
kind of like wow, way back then, that he.
He was that effective.
Yeah. So he was one of my first coaches. My high school coach was John Mastery.
Sure. I love John.
Which he's also not too long ago.
We lost him.
No, he's still here. He just,
is he?
Yeah, he just retired from refereeing. He got into refereeing after long football, fishing also.
Okay.
But he was my high school coach.
Yep.
At Benedict and Tim's coach also.
Yeah, he was a cool dude, man.
Yeah, he was a younger guy. He was out of college a few years when he got to be the coach, so you kind of could relate to him very much easier than
I like that.
And then that Ashton coach was Al Platt. As a coach wise it was fine, but it was other wrestlers that on the team that bonds were made and still are. Mike Arnold, who was coach at Garfield Heights.
Mike's a terrific guy. He's retired down in North Carolina.
Right.
Yep.
Brian Millick was another one. He used to coach at Padua.
Sure, head coach.
Bill McGrain I mentioned.
Was he at North Olmsted, Bill?
He was at Olmsted Falls.
Olmsted Falls. That's
number of years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot
Cradle of coaches over there. That team.
There's a couple more I'm sure I'm forgetting, but yeah. And a lot of them we still keep in touch with. It was for my sophomore year my sophomore year, I was still there, but didn't wrestle.
Yeah.
We had a guy on the team, Jeff Friedman. He won the national national championship.
Right.
And he was also the MVP at the tournament too.
Gotcha.
What a wrestling him in the room was an experience.
Yeah.
Wrestling was an experience. You thought you could hang with anybody.
Except him.
He was exceptional.
Yeah. Well, I had the opportunity to coach as a GA at John Carroll back in the early 80s, and man, oh man, we had some talent in that room.
No doubt.
Yeah, we had some talent. We had Tommy Gallagher in there, and Mike
Mayfield.
Obino, and Nick D'Angelo, Tony Aletta.
Okay.
So it was, and actually some of the grad students came in and would wrestle, like Danny Stefanson and Chad Gross. They'd stop in,
Jack Woolhall was there.
Jack was there. Well, Jack was a little bit before that.
Okay.
Yeah, but Jack was a stud.
And Tim Bank.
No, Tim was after that.
Okay.
He was a little bit after that, but it was right there in the early 80s. And that team was, I think there was like 50, 60 kids on the team.
Wow.
Doesn't happen anymore. Right. You know what I mean? So,
and now they got a girls program going on over there.
Yeah, they do. I interviewed Nathan Tomasello.
Yeah.
And his new wife and soon-to-be new baby, Autumn. She's terrific. Matter of fact, we had brunch with them over at Brandon's, Krastowski's, Edwin's too, who's a big supporter of this podcast. We love Brandon. But terrific young couple. Really, really good. And I think she's doing okay over there.
She's no doubt. Yeah, good people. Yeah, it's got a nice little program. I went to the very first match they had there.
Me too.
What experience.
Yeah, I know. It was so many people.
I didn't realize it was freestyle rules. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
Two periods? What is this? I had to read the rules because I didn't understand them,
Right.
Scoring, everything was different.
It was very different. But they packed the house.
Sure did.
It was hysterical.
And it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And so when we're going to take a break soon. And when we come back from the break, Terry, I want to talk about some of the matches, some crazy matches that you've had with some of the top people, and maybe not top people. Mm-hmm. Some of the things that have occurred, and some of the things that have occurred with some of the coaches. I think you probably have a few stories. I got a story with Sullivan that I'll tell you about. But
very good.
We're going to come back after the break, and we're going to talk about those stories, and then some other things as well. This is Coach Cimrone for Blood Time. We're with Terry Armelli. We'll be right back after the break.
Infinite Search Solutions, recruitment and placement search services at its finest. Northeast Ohio's premier, easy, fast, and simple way to find the great and perfect candidate that you deserve. Matt Burns and his incredible team at Infinite Search Solutions are terrific. We are proud to have them as a sponsor. Reach out to Matt at 440-249-0485 or at their website, www.in-finite.com.
We want to thank my good friend Kevin Goodman, the managing partner at Blue Bridge Networks, as our newest partner and sponsor. Please reach out to them for all of your managed IT services needs, cloud computing needs, data center services requirements, and all infrastructure solutions services. Kevin Goodman and Blue Bridge Networks. Seek them out at 1-866-990-2583. That's 1-866-990-2583. 2583 and at info@bbnllc.com. And we're back with Terry Armelli. This is Coach Cimarroni for Blood Time. Terry, tell me a little bit about some of the crazy matches you've had in your career and some of the things that occurred.
There's been, he said there's been quite a few over the years. But as far as bigger matches or dual meets,
Yep.
I can tell you a couple dual meets that really, because nowadays dual meets are a thing of the past. You don't really have the.
I agree with you. But when I was the head coach at Chagrin Falls, my final year, we had 6 dual meets on the schedule.
That's good.
I said, this is nonsense.
Right.
And we had 3 at home.
Right. Yeah. Everyone wants to go into big, multiple team tournaments and get
It's
multiple
easy.
matches.
It's easy too.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes, the head coaching position is an odd position now because it's almost like you are lemmings and they just follow what everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no creativity.
Yeah.
And I put that all aside. I said, the heck with that. I'm going to go back to rivalries. I'm going to go back to, fans and,
Right.
and parents and sisters and brothers and uncles and aunts coming to watch the kids wrestle
Right.
at their home.
Exactly.
Well,
they're doing these duel in the schools now, which are excellent.
Yeah,
all the
terrific.
schools are doing that.
Yep.
That's one way of getting a packed house.
Exactly right.
But one of the dual meets. In fact, I was talking with Bill McGrain, longtime coach at Olmsted Falls.
Yep.
Back in 1985, it was the Southwest Conference Championship.
Yep.
Olmsted Falls and Fairview.
Sure.
I had, at that time, the gym was absolutely packed. There wasn't a seat in the house.
Okay.
Olmsted Falls had a part of their band in the section, which kind of blew me away. I never had a band at a wrestling match.
Yeah,
The
it's
band,
kind of weird.
A little band section with the horns and.
Yeah.
But the match was just. There wasn't an easy match throughout the whole 13 weight class at that time.
So it was very contested.
It was tight down to the heavyweight match.
Yeah.
Fairview was up by 1, I believe, but it's very tight. I mean, the heavyweight match, with the winner was going to win the dual meet.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
The Falls kid was, I believe, up by a point going the last period. Figure was or tied. I can't exact, but I just remember I could just see him doing a shot that I just kind of blew my mind, just like a dumb shot that didn't need to be done, and
Right.
And the other Fairview kid just chucked behind him and.
Took him down.
Took him down on a dual meet, and
Right.
the place was. I mean, the whole gym was just loud throughout the whole match.
Right.
But at that point, it just erupted. It was, and Bill was saying it's probably one of the most memorial matches that he's ever been involved with.
Right.
And there was a number of kids out of that dual meet, both sides, that went on to wrestle, collegiately. So
Wow.
it was very, very talent-laden teams.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, not as a referee, but as an assistant coach at Beechwood when we were wrestling Richmond Heights in 1979. It was a big rivalry, and the place was packed.
Sure, right.
And so I remember one of the wrestlers, I think his name was Tommy Weiss. Yeah, Tommy Weiss wrestled a guy by the name of Al Sherrill and got kind of hosed by one of the. I think it was Bernie Rye actually that may have hosed him. I'm not sure if it was Bernie or not, but it could have been. And his father and his 2 brothers came out of the stands, and they had to be thrown out.
Oh yeah, right. Oh sure. It's happened. People, charge on the mat.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely. It was great, but it was a packed house. And the other one that I can remember was, I think it was Mentor versus Maple in 1975.
Sure.
At Maple. And it was, I got a front row seat. I don't know how I got the front row seat. I think I was friends with Ray Barrett, who was a state champ in '67. And I went there, and it was insane, insane. You don't see that anymore.
No,
you see it maybe at a tournament, but you don't see it anymore.
Rarely, yeah. There was a couple at St. Ed's too.
Oh God,
involved. Actually, I was fortunate enough to be involved in 2 dual meets where it came down to the winner was for the national championship.
Oh, right.
One's with Apple Valley, and that's a long story.
That's
too,
up in Minnesota.
Yeah, at Minnesota. That's a story in itself. But the other match was with Blair.
Right. Out of New Jersey.
It was Blair
Academy.
Myself and Toby Dunlap. Toby was
the
main ref. I was assistant ref.
Yep.
And that gym also was just packed to the rafters.
Yep.
Just the stage, if you know the gymnasium, they have a stage there. Kids were sitting up on a stage, sitting on the floor. It was just, and Toby and I couldn't hear basically each other. It was so loud throughout the whole matches.
Wow.
It was just an intent. And again, I think it came down one of the last matches too, and it did win that match and won the national championship. But just the intensity through from first whistle to
You
the
can,
last
it's
whistle.
palpable. You could feel it. Yeah.
I mean, each kid's just fighting tooth and nail. There was no,
Yeah.
very, very intense.
So I had a situation. I was refereeing a John Carroll versus Trenton State match. Okay, and Carroll was ranked 1 in the country, and Trenton State was ranked 2. So they came in. I think it was maybe even a weekend tournament, dual meet tournament. And so they were wrestling in the final. I think it was the final.
Okay.
And Carroll was kicking their ass. It was 21-2 going into the final match, and it was Sully as the heavyweight.
Okay.
And so Mark Sullivan, and their heavyweight, but he was like a street kid from like Trenton, New Jersey, just this real kind of a rough kid, And Sully was definitely better, you could tell, but this kid was like a street fighter, and he kept leading with the head, so I hit him for 1 point, right? And Sully kind of looks at me like, "Hey, you right? Right?" And so the kid leads again. I hit him for another. I pull him in. I said, "Don't lead again." I said, "That's it. That's it." He leads again.
Of course.
I hit him for 2, but forget about it. Sully's over my shoulder, and he is pummeling this kid.
Yeah.
So the cops, pull him apart. I actually disqualified that kid.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
So I disqualified that kid. So Carroll wins 27-2. Right. They just destroy him. And as this kid's walking out, he's flipping off the front row, which are all priests.
Nice.
That was this kid.
Yeah, real
what I mean?
nice.
And so Sully goes, "Thanks, coach." But I mean, this kid was just he looked like hamburger after.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he just wanted to get a few licks in him.
And I was all of maybe 135. Well, I'm 132 pounds right now. But at the end of the day, it was like there's no way I'm getting in between these guys. I said, "Cops, come on in." You know what I mean? So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to get off the topic of refereeing. I'm off the topic of your past. What do you see the future of our sport, Terry?
Well,
because it's tough to get referees.
Well, I mean,
and it's tough to get assistant coaches, right?
Right.
So what do we?
Well, the
doing?
referee part,
Yep.
that's definitely an issue across the board with all sports.
It is, isn't
referee
it?
alone.
Yeah.
I think our numbers at one point at our greatest were somewhat over 900 officials in the country, in the state.
Yep.
Now we're a little bit over 600.
Wow.
So we've lost a third. A lot of it had to do with COVID, just people getting out. A lot of it's just attrition. Guys are retiring, and there's just no new blood, new young guys coming in.
Yep.
Which is
I just saw a post on Facebook where a guy had to the referees didn't show up or whatever. He had to come out of the stands and referee the match.
I mean, every day we're getting emails, from some school, some AD, somewhere, begging, looking for officials because there's not enough to cover us. And now, especially now, we've got girls wrestling, which is exploding.
Right.
Wrestling is like the biggest growth sport of all sports in the country, and it's due to girls wrestling. It's just the numbers are great. So that's more officials you need.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah, it's a tough thing, and they are kind of making some adjustments. You become official a lot easier, a lot quicker now. It's totally online.
Gotcha.
Go on to the Ohio
Yeah, it was
high schools.
tough. I mean, I had my license from 1978 to 2001, so I remember.
Yeah, with the process, take a test,
It wasn't
go to
easy.
classes.
Yeah.
Now you go online on the state line. It's a webinar, it's a some Zoom meetings.
Yep.
You go to attend a Zoom meeting, you take a test, you have a license.
Yep.
You don't even step on a mat.
Yep.
Which is a little scary. So,
Yes.
So you're going to get people coming out with new licenses that aren't going to have really. Some don't have any mat time as an official. So
that's
it
weird.
takes time for them to mature.
Yeah.
And we all know coaches aren't the most patient people when it comes to
Oh my God.
and
it's worse.
officials and fans.
It's
and
worse
parents.
now. It's
Right,
worse now.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you get a new kid coming out doing his first match, making $40.
Yep.
And he's just getting ripped up and down.
Yeah.
I don't need this. So we need coaches and parents and fans to be more patient with the young kids.
Right.
The state is backing people up. State is putting out some money there to different associations, so we can kind of pay for these new officials to go work as an extra official at a tournament. Just maybe shadow a guy.
Yeah.
But pay them for their time, or
Makes
pay
sense.
for another veteran official to mentor that official at a match. So changes are being put in, but nothing's quick. And
it's interesting too because when I was coming up as a young coach, like KGO was like a rock star to me.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guy Ferris. Or,
Don
Don
Ferris.
Ferris. Donnie was like a rock. I mean, I remember refereeing with Donnie at the regionals at John Carroll, and he's just getting dressed real, and he had his, and his revolver,
Right.
because he was a police detective for the Cleveland Police,
Right.
And he would tell me the funniest stories about this and that.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like, wow, these guys you looked up to, you thought, I want to be like these
Right,
dudes.
and that's
You know
exactly what
I
you said. Like I said before, those are guys I'd find out where they were at, or
Right.
I go to that tournament and just kind of watch how they operated. And
Yeah.
I remember sitting there with Dave, Arter, and saying, if we made that stall call, or if I didn't give that takedown, that coach would be have us in the corner and look at nothing, not a peep.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Now we are those officials.
Yeah, I know
that
you
the
are.
coaches are.
I know you
knowing
are.
that we've been around the block, and we've earned their trust.
Sure.
And we've earned their. Sure, there's going to be times we disagree.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they keep it in their pocket. You know?
So what do you think is the solution to do what the state is continuing
Well,
to
that's
do?
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get officials out there. You got to, and it's patience and time. You got to also educate not just these new officials coming out. You got to educate the coaches. You got to educate the fans that, hey, be patient. You
patient,
want to have,
if you want to have our sport,
right, exactly.
Right.
Or, come on out and take a test, With all these girls now not reffing, wrestling.
We need
That's
more-
a whole other pool, I think, to go get these girls that maybe wrestle in high school a little bit for a year or two and not going to do anything else with it. Well, hey, come on.
Yeah.
Be an official.
Make some money.
We need you. So think about it.
So the funniest thing I ever saw an official do was Sam Salupo call a pin with his foot.
Yeah. That's a famous story. Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, right.
I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
I've seen it done before, too.
My God.
Right.
He was so old or out of shape
he
or
could
whatever.
get away with it at that time, but yeah.
He didn't slap the mat with his hand. He didn't
No.
get down to that. He just slapped it with his foot.
Yeah.
What's the funniest thing you've ever seen?
Oh, you know what? Officials, funniest thing I think are probably in the locker rooms afterwards.
Okay.
Because when you're on in a match, pretty intense. You kind of keep your game face on. You don't have much time to down. We get in the locker room. I tell you, if you could be an official and last the locker room ribbing and tearing each other apart for a call or a boo, who got the biggest boo, you got to pretty thick skin. So those are the times that that and the bonding. That's what I miss. I don't like when I retired. I remember telling everybody, I'm not going to miss. It all being on the mat, rolling around and doing your mat with a couple of guys, all day. I'm gonna miss, going out afterwards for the couple of beers. I'm gonna miss being in a locker room change and having all the laughs we used to have. Pranking. I used to love pranking people. I would have, Jimmy Barron's.
Jimmy's the best.
At the Brexville tournament, the finals. I had his whistle and I stuffed his whistle. He's there.
That's
He's there ready to blow it for the first place match and didn't blow, so he had to take his assistant whistle.
That's fantastic.
It could go going on. Atomic bomb and underwear and stealing whistles and putting tape things on people's back. It's just, sewing people's coats. It could go on and on. It was
that's fantastic.
It's a fun group of guys, and it's a group of guys that I would call my brothers, and I'm fortunate to have a lot of friends, lifelong friends now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Terry, I always appreciated your talent and your demeanor, but also your calls. Everybody makes mistakes,
right.
But you were good, man.
I tried. I did what I tried to do my best.
And you did. You did. You brought
the
a lot.
rules, and I put the time at next. I did my push-ups. I did put the time on the mat to get to where I had to do.
You brought a lot to our sport.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming in here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's been great. Thanks for doing all this for wrestling.
It's my honor, right? It's my honor
Appreciate it.
interview guys like you and Sully and all the guys. I mean, my God, the people that we have sat.
You want to sit and have some stories one time? You get me, Trinity, and Art, and Toby in here, and we have a couple hour podcast.
Absolutely. Well, Trinetti I coach with.
Right, okay,
He's pazzo.
Yeah.
He's completely pazzo. Yeah. But I love his crazy.
Oh yeah.
I love his crazy.
Right,
and Toby's what a class act.
He is a
great
guy.
Class act. Fairport Harbor skipper.
Exactly right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we like to leave the audience with just a word from you? Just something that you could say to the wrestling community or the community at large that you'd like to leave from Terry Armelli.
I mean, I meant the one with words of wisdom. Trust me, just keep grinding.
I like that.
Just keep grinding.
You know what? That's good for our country. Keep grinding.
Right, not just in wrestling, but in life.
Yeah.
Keep grinding. Everybody says wrestling builds life lessons, and
Yep.
and it does.
Well, I agree with you, and I'm a big. I don't know why I'm a big Stallone fan. I just am.
Yeah, sure.
And he had one. It was in Rocky Balboa, that line where he's talking to his son. His son's being kind of a dick to him, and he says, "It's not. Life hits you hard.
Yeah. See.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about if you could take the hit.
Right.
It's that you can get up and keep moving forward.
Exactly.
Because life hits you, right? And you keep grinding, keep moving forward. That's all. That's the only option
that's
we
all you
have.
can do,
Right. And that's what our sport teaches us.
Amen.
Yeah. Terry, God bless, brother, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Give my
you.
love to your brother,
I will,
Tim.
no doubt.
Okay?
No doubt, we'll do.
Thank you for coming in.
All right.
It's Coach Cimarroni for Blood Time. We are all blood. Love to all.
I just love the mission at Edwin's. My friend Brandon Krastowski at Edwin's Leadership and Restaurant Institute brings a unique approach at giving formerly incarcerated adults a foundation in the hospitality industry. What a marvelous mission. Thank you, Brandon, for bringing these wonderful people back into productive society. Every human being, regardless of their past, has the right to a fair and equal future. Give them a try because their food is magnificent. Their service is first rate, and Brandon is a true Cleveland light. EdwinsRestaurant.org. We love you.